Yo, what's good everyone? Your boy Deke back again with another vid, and for this one we're going to be breaking down, dissecting Juju's recent comments on Big Ben and whether or not 2021 is going to be his last season. We talked about this a little bit on the podcast, so before we get into the video, if you like the Steelers, you like videos like this, if you want to help your boy Deke out navigate this YouTube game, just hit the like button on this vid, and also while you're at it, hit the subscribe button and then maybe the notification bell so you can know when future vids like this are coming out and you're not left in the dust. Also, give a comment whether it's related to this vid, what your opinion is on some of the stuff I'm going to go through, or also maybe future topics or future videos you would like to see from me. So without further ado, let's get into the article. So this is where the article's from. It's called InsideHook.com. I have no idea what type of website this is. It looks like something that has to do with trends, just pop culture, whatever it is. But this is by Evan Blyer. Did an interview with Juju, and this is what he had to say about Ben Roethlisberger. I can't find the question. I don't know what question was posed, but this is the quote right here. Being able to play with Ben again for one more year. I believe right now on paper it is his last one. I think it is. And then he goes on to say, he's done so much for me over the past 4 years. I had an opportunity to go to 2 different teams with 2 young quarterbacks who have tremendous careers ahead of him. But as far as Ben, this year is special because it'll be his last. He had a tremendous career for 15 plus years, and it would be great to go out with a W. Goes on to say, in my time playing football, I've had some good quarterbacks over the years, but Ben is by far the best one. You don't get those opportunities for very long. He was telling me I have 17 games with him during the regular season. It goes fast. So for me, it's definitely motivation to play my heart out for him and the team. Every time I step on the field, I've got to play like it's my last play, blah, 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 blah. All right, so the main 3 comments, sentences, words are Juju says, I believe right now on paper it is his last one. I think it is. He goes on to say in the same paragraph, but as far as Ben, this year is special because it'll be his last. And then the last thing he says to indicate this, he was telling me I have 17 games with him during the regular season. Okay, so let's break this down. So I'm going to come from this from the perspective that I don't want this to be Ben's last season, so I'm really not going to agree with Juju.
I'm so surprised.
But let's break it down a little bit. All Juju says is, I believe right now on paper it is his last one. I think it is. So this is an opinion. A lot of people have opinions. A lot of people that follow the Steelers have had opinions on whether Ben was going to be gone, so Juju does have the inside source because he plays for the Steelers. I guess he has talked to Big Ben, but there's also people that are close to Ben that I will talk about later in this video that have said sort of the opposite of this. He also goes on to say, I think this year is special because it'll be his last. This is a statement, but at the same time, it hasn't been from Ben. It hasn't been from Ben's agent, anyone in his camp. So why should we take this statement as fact if it's not coming from Ben or his agent? Just think back to earlier this offseason about Ben's contract. Think of how many statements were coming out from people so-called close to Ben, so-called close to the Steelers organization that didn't end up becoming true. So yeah, that's that. Finally, he was telling me I have 17 games with him during the regular season. It goes fast. That is a fact. Juju is on a 1-year deal, though, and so is Ben. I don't see this as a like, hey, man, this is like my last 17 games. He obviously right here didn't say this is my last 17 games. We have 17 games coming up. I think this is just more of like, hey, come back. Let's run it back. Let's give it one more run and see what happens. It's not saying like this is the last thing. It's like, let's just focus on this season. Give it our all, and you have 1 more year left on your deal. You're going to sign a 1-year deal, and I have 1 more year left on my deal. So let's just play this out. We got 17 games under contract. Not saying this is going to be my last or if I'm not going to play anymore. Let's focus on this year. That's what I think it is. I think this is more of like seems like a motivational thing, like a hype up for this season as opposed to saying like, hey, this is all we got, 17 games. So that's my take on the quotes. Now, if you want to say, Deke, man, you're a little bit biased. Come on, man. We know you want Ben to play till he's 50. I get that, but there are also some other reasons I don't think we should put so much weight into this. One, I already said that we haven't heard anything from Ben or Ben's camp, and we saw all this stuff that played out in the offseason, how people were coming up with rumors left and right, Steelers organization, what Ben was thinking, this and that, and ultimately Ben signed a new contract, worked things out with the Steelers, and he's playing in 2021. So that's one thing. But then also, literally, just recently, we had Cam Hayward, we had Jerome Bettis, and also Kevin Colbert give comments that pointed to Ben possibly staying past 2021.
I don't ever like to prejudge a situation and say, oh, I was shocked he came back from that situation, because you never know what's going on, what's in a guy's head. But we don't know how many more times he's got at this, and we got to make the most out of it. We know he's an explosive quarterback that can throw the ball all over the field. But I think we just got to be complimentary, whether it's on offense or defense and special teams. Ben's still got the goods. Anyone that tells you otherwise, they haven't really looked at football. You give that guy a good running game and tell him he doesn't have to throw the ball 50, 60 times. He's going to be that much more dangerous. And I think we're looking forward to that. And it's going to be, pretty good for him longevity-wise if he wants to keep playing.
So there you have it. With that quote, you have that Big Ben still has the ability to play in 2021. We add the running game, we add the offensive line, we add the complementary football. Steelers, Big Ben should have success. He also points out, too, whenever he's asked, do you think this is his last season, or are you surprised that he came back this season? He was like, I don't really know what's going on in Ben's head right now, like what he's thinking. So my point is, if he plays out this season, is pretty much completely healthy, not getting sacked, the offensive line holds up, he's balling out, we're in contention, we win a Super Bowl. The question is, like, why wouldn't he come back then? You know what I mean? If he still wants to play, then why not play? It's one thing for him to still have the ability and still be able to lead the Steelers and get us in Super Bowl contention, as opposed to, hey, Ben just doesn't have it anymore, he's banged up, his play has declined. If that's not the case, he should be able to decide whether he wants to play or not. Some people, depending on just what your outlook is on life, you might just want to be done playing football. Andrew Luck retired at the age of 29. My point is, either way, I think that should be up to Ben, not the Steelers organization, the fans, whoever it is, as long as he's playing at a high level and got the Steelers in contention year in and year out. And Cam brought up the longevity element, which is a little bit the opposite of what Juju was talking about, saying that, hey, I think our offense and what we have building right here could be good for his longevity with us drafting Najee Harris, the receivers and weapons that we have around him. Next quotes, we have Jerome Bettis. He says, with the pick of Najee Harris, we need to get back to running the football. It was a commitment that they made. They further cemented that with Illinois center Kendrick Green and the offseason acquisitions they made in the offensive line. And then Bettis goes on to say, I don't completely agree with this. I agree with the premise, though, of just running the football will help the offense, will help Ben out. But he says, getting that running game in and being balanced offensively so that you're not asking Ben to throw the ball 40 times a game. If you're asking Ben to throw 40, 50 times, this will probably be Ben's last year, and it probably won't go well. See, I disagree with that. If he does have to throw that amount, I think we'll still be fine as long as the running game is improved from last year. We literally had 0 running game last year. It was the worst in the last 50, 60 years. But if they ask him to throw it 20, 25 times a game, then you were going to see success. That's fine. I don't care if it's 20, 25 times, 30, 35 times with Najee Harris, an improved offensive line. That's going to help Ben out. That's going to help the offense. It's going to help the Steelers win games. I just don't think, based off how last year ended, yes, the Steelers didn't play as well. Ben didn't have some of his best games later in the season, but what, in terms of throwing the ball, makes you think that he still can't throw the ball at a high level consistently throughout the whole season? He should be. I don't understand why he should be on a pitch count, is essentially what I'm saying. We saw throws in the Browns game that I don't think more than 4 or 5 other quarterbacks can make. So that's just what I'm saying. I think ultimately the running game, the offensive line, all that stuff, that's going to help Ben. That's going to help any quarterback. So the premise I do agree with. Some of the little details I don't, but does it really matter? Because if we do have Harris, we do have that running game. It's just going to help all around. But then right here, Bettis went so far as to predict that the Steelers commit to that formula. Harris's presence may extend Roethlisberger's career beyond 2021. I believe you'll see a second year, not just this year, but possibly next year with Ben Roethlisberger at the helm. So there's that. He's thinking, we get this offense humming, we get a nice balanced offense, that could extend Ben's career. So as of right now, we have Cam Hayward, Jerome Bettis talking about Ben's longevity, potentially extending his career past 2021. Whereas Juju says, I think it'll be his last year. Honestly, though, in essence, what we could take away thus far is I don't think any of us know exactly what we're talking about, just from the standpoint of we don't know what Ben's going to do. We haven't even seen the whole season play out yet. So to say if this is going to be his last year or not, we just don't know. We just don't know. Let's just appreciate this 2021 season. And if he does ball out, why wouldn't it be an extra 2 years, an extra 3 years, whatever it is? If he's healthy, the Steelers are in contention. All the stuff I previously mentioned. And then the last one, we have Steelers GM Kevin Colbert. It says right here, he's not ready to deem 2021 Roethlisberger's final season in Pittsburgh. Had an interview with Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk where he goes on to say, yeah, I think Ben's mindset is he's focused on 2021, as we all are, and I think we all go into it and focus now. We'll see where things lead, but beyond that, none of us know. And obviously, Ben's in the back end of his career. He was terribly disappointed the way we ended last season, the way he ended. And, shortly after the end of the season, he came to us and said, listen, I want to be back. Of course, we had to work out some things contractually. And honestly, he set off a nice little surge for us because we had several players that were able to come back to us. But Ben led the way by taking that pay cut. So right here, this almost points back to the 17 games that I was talking about with Juju, where I think Ben's mindset is he's focused on 2021. I think that's it. Let's just focus on 2021. Let's win the Super Bowl this season, and we see what happens after that. Why wouldn't he come back if the Steelers are doing good, if Ben's doing good, he's healthy, offense looks awesome, then why not? If it's for the right price, if it's a Brady Breeze type of deal, $20 million, that would make sense for both sides, Ben, the Steelers, whatever it is. So we have 3 comments with Cam Hayward, Jerome Bettis, Kevin Colbert, whether it's talking about uncertainty of Ben's future, where it's not like definitive of, yeah, this is going to be his last season, talking about longevity. And then you have Juju saying, I think this will be his last year. So what do you make of it? I just don't think anyone really knows at this point. I think he could and should play past this 2021 season, just because my prediction is I do think he's going to have a really good season. Other people don't think that, so that's why maybe they're thinking or hoping that 2021 is Ben's last season, which I don't agree with. So we'll see. That's the beauty of football. That's the beauty of the teams getting out on the field, is we're going to find out. So we'll see whose predictions are right, whose predictions are wrong. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments, whether you think this is going to be Ben's last season, what your projections are for this season with Ben, with the offense. I'm trying to think anything else. What you thought of all of these comments, like what do you make of, you have 3 comments that are kind of talking about Ben's longevity and his future potentially with the Steelers past 2021, whereas Juju saying he thinks this is the last season. Yeah, just let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed the vid. Stay chilling. Peace.